All right, let's go right into the deck profile. We'll do the main deck first, of course. 3 copies of Ice Ryzeal. This is your best normal summon of the deck and probably your best starter. 3 extra Ryzeal. This is one of your extenders, another part of your combo. They're really all part of your combo, so yeah. This is Sword Ryzeal, probably your weaker normal summon, but it's still possible. And then you have Node Ryzeal. Node Ryzeal is one of your best extenders, and it's part of your combo. So that's one great part about this deck. I go ahead and consider Bonfire part of your engine. Just honestly, like, if you're gonna play this deck, you need to play Bonfire because it's too good. It's almost mandatory. 1 Ryzeal Cross. If you're playing the pure build, you play 2. But since this is the Melodious build, I only play 1. 1 plug-in and 1 Plasma Hole, which is optional because this does not come up all the time, but when it does come up, it adds an extra layer to your combo. And really, you want something else to search, which you could always just search follow-up. But you know, this deck really doesn't have a problem with follow-up, so it's, you know, you might as well just do that. All right, now let's go into the Melodious engine. All right. All right, for the Melodious engine, you're playing, of course, 3 Ostinato, the literally most broken fusion spell probably in the game, because it's not once per turn. 3 Refrain the Melodious Songsters. 1 card starter. 1 card starter. Can be actually an extender. Can the Melodious Diva to get you into your rank 4s, but it's part of your combo. So 7 cards for added consistency. So in this build, just spoiler alert, we don't play Desires. For obvious reasons, one-ofs like that are important. It would kind of defeat the purpose if you did play it. Now, if you're going to play Desires in this build, you technically can, but you're taking really big risk doing that. I would not do it. Not recommend it at all. So 7 cards to add a lot of consistency, plus all these, they can actually help you push. Like, you can play through hand traps and around hand traps with this, and I'll show you that in the extra deck, kind of some of the things you can do when we get into the combos. Hand trap lineup. So I've been testing some theories with hand traps. So 3 Ash, that's the best hand trap in the game, of course. But I've been thinking about 2 of hand traps because, number 1, we play Cross out and we play the Charmies, and a lot of times you side them out. And there's just not enough room to play 3 copies of all the hand traps you want to play. Plus, you're playing Cross out, so you need Cross out targets. So 2 Valor, 2 Moonlit, 2 Nib, 2 Droll and Lockbird, 2 Ghost Ogre, and 3 Imperm. Now, you could say, well, this one's not hard once per turn, so why not play 3 of them? And you could. I mean, you theoretically could. If any of them that I would cut, it would be probably this one, Ogre. It just doesn't seem that good right now. And then Droll's a little hit or miss, but it covers Rogue. And we're playing, what is this, 6, 10, no, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 hand traps. I mean, 16 hand traps is pretty good. You know, it's not crazy, but we're playing a build that's focused on consistency and not necessarily hand traps. I still will say that the pure version is the better version, but this is definitely the more consistent version and possibly the better version going second, you know, overall. But it's just hard to say. You know, if you draw 3 hand traps into a starter and an extender, you could definitely argue that the main variant is better. But that's it for the hand traps. And these 2-ofs, like I said, I'm just testing that out right now. As the format shifts, if we see that Nib is just necessary and we have to play it, then we'll just play it at 3. But this build is working good. For our spells, we'll go 1 Called By and 1 Prosperity. Again, you just don't want to play Desires in this build, I don't think. And Called By is optional, but you know, there are things that hurt the deck, so it wouldn't be bad to Called By an Ash or Called By a Princess on, you know, you're going second. It's not the worst card. It's just, there's a reason it's at 1, and there's a reason that Prospery's at 1. So play it. Deck is 41 cards in the main. Okay, let's go into the extra deck. So for our extra deck, we're gonna play 2 Detonators, which, man, I wish this really had room for 3. It does come up, but it just doesn't. So 2 duo drive. This is literally your basically just your most broken card in your deck. Honestly, this is your most broken card. Typhon, Zeus, and these are arguably cuttable, but especially Typhon, it doesn't come up that much. But in the mirror, there are simplified game states where maybe you just need to bounce the detonator, hit a little for damage, and win. You know, you can do that. 1 aggregator. Again, this is another card that I like to play 2 of, but just can't. 1 dweller. Really good. I mean, dwellers, and a lot of people are cutting this card. I don't know why. There's still Fire King. There's still Fiendsmith. There's still lots of decks that this really hurts and almost kills. You slap this on top of a full board, a lot of decks have trouble with this. Dugaris, very mandatory. Very, very mandatory. This card is so broken. So broken. And don't forget it does other things too. So, other than just draw cards. But make sure to skip your next draw phase. Baguska, another card that you can't cut this. It's not cuttable. It's too good. It's too good, especially in this build. This build actually plays through Shifter a little bit better than the pure build, if you ask me. Because sometimes you can end on more than you normally would. For our Melodious package, Baka and Schuberta. So the reason we play Schuberta is there are situations where you're going into the fire decks and things, and you want to be able to just make an early push and force your opponent to respond if you don't really need to go through the other line. And this card's a DD Crow, like a triple DD Crow. It's pretty crazy. Flame Banshee. So this is how we bridge the 2 engines, and it's super broken. SP Little Knight. Another card. You get a free SP Little Knight from the combo. Let me put it right here. Free SP Little Knight in the combo. You know, it makes sense. And then Haggard Lizardos for clearing nib tokens and if your Melodious stuff gets stopped. And then, you know, it's just a good card. And then, now, honestly, you could probably say that Donner is better, but I can't find my Donner anyway, so I'm just going to play this, and it hasn't really came up to where it's hurt me or helped me, so I'm not too worried about it. All right, guys, this is your 1-card Ostinato combo, which I'm not counting the cards that you may discard for special summoning and things like that, but 1-card Ostinato, so you'll activate Ostinato. We will send 2 refrains from the deck to activate this, okay? To summon out our copy of Baka. Baka effect will special summon Refrain. Refrain effect will add us Cannon. You can go ahead and special summon Cannon here. It doesn't really do anything. You're not in the nib world or anything like that. So in this particular combo, what we're going to do is we're going to go into SP Little Knight for free by using these 2. Okay. We're going to go ahead. Now, what you can do here, if you're like, well, that plays into Bell, you can chain block Bell. So we'll go Baka effect, chain 1, chain 2 SP Little Knight to banish our copy of Ostinato. Then we will summon back out the Refrain. The reason you do it this way is, number 1, if you get nibbed here, then you still end with bodies on the field, so it's pretty good. Also, this helps play around Imperm on the Flame Banshee, but nobody's going to do that. I mean, especially game 1, they're going to interact at some point between here. Otherwise, they're just kind of cooking themselves. So, you know, if you just happen to actually be playing Melodious. But if they do find out you're on this and they hold it for what we're making next, which is the Flame Banshee, this is one of the ones that does detach for cost. So you go activate Banshee, detach. So if you do happen to get nibbed here, you can just chain, you know, and then you're good. And you still search your Ryzeal stuff and your combo is just good as it gets. So we're going to go ahead and add Ice Ryzeal. Okay, Ice Ryzeal. You will normal summon Ice Ryzeal. Ice Ryzeal effect will special summon Sword. Okay. Sword, we'll go ahead and add our copy of, 1 second, of extra Ryzeal. Okay, keep in mind the restriction of extra Ryzeal. If this card's normal special summon and you control no other face-up monster other than level 4, rank 4 monsters, you can add 1 Fire Thunder monster from your deck to your hand. Okay, so you can still special summon it, but you can't use its effect. So you go ahead, you special summon it. This one special summons by sending. You're going to send a copy of a detonator. It's not a big deal that you can't add off the effect. 1 second. Now you're going to go ahead and make your copy of Duo Drive. Now, if they've held Nib for this long, you're just like, you're good, you're better than me, and you just get cooked. But, whatever. But you're still in with bodies, and it's not that big of a deal. Plus, you have like 4 hand traps, hopefully. You can go for this line a different route. I will show you that in a minute. So, go ahead, activate to attach. All right, now we're going to detach, effect to add plug-in and cross. So I like to go ahead and activate cross as soon as possible because it establishes a negate just in case they hold Nib this long, which would be completely stupid, but they're probably not. Now we're going to go ahead and activate our copy of plug-in, bring back the ice, and then we will attach our copy of Hole to this, okay? Now keep in mind, you don't have to keep this on board, so if you just really needed that, but you don't need the X effect, so don't worry about that. You just get a free SP, look at it that way. All right, so what we're gonna do now is go ahead and make our copy of Detonator. All right, Detonator effect. Now he will attach this detonator. You're good to go here. All right. And now at this point, you would have 4 hand traps, hopefully. You would have your detonator, you'd have your Duo Drive, your Infernal Flame Banshee, which when this card, let me read how it's worded. Okay, if this card is banished and you control a Pyro monster, which we do, you can special summon this card, and if you do, it gains attack equal to the number of your currently banished monsters times 100. So, not really that important. However, you still have this that you can use up your negate if you need to, but you can also negate. When you use your cross negate next turn, you're going to detach this. That way your Hole Thruster is live. Because there are certain situations where you would leave these 2 bodies on the board. And then you could go into Detonator on their turn, or you could go into whatever you needed. Depending on how your hand's set up is what I'm getting at. Like, if you already had plug in and you didn't really have to make the Duo Drive, like, you don't have to make Duo Drive. You can make Detonator plus Dweller or Detonator plus Baguska, anything like that.